The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, beginning at verse 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Layim, La Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Salakia. I want to give all praises and all honor to Yahweh. Call Layim, La Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rachakatam. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Okay. Shalom to Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. This is Brother Yahweh up out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Trying to search for a lesson, came across a lesson, an article that was very interesting. The brother posted it. I think his page is GMS Dedication. It was very intriguing, and when I checked it out, I said, well, it's newsworthy, video-worthy, because it's prophetic and scriptural. So, wonder what I did that, huh? Weird. Bear with me for a second. Salakia. So, this is an article out of Business, CNN Business. It says, India bans wheat exports as heat wave hurts crop, domestic prices soar. So, basically the country of India is not exporting wheat. And I believe I read somewhere it said India is like the second biggest exporter of wheat. And you're going to see a lot of other countries that's going to start buckling down on actually selling like these commodities to, other countries, because they would have to feed their own countries. I think they said that Russia and Ukraine were the biggest exporters originally, but because of the conflict there. And like I said, when you really go into what the Most High is doing, it's all systematically and it's brilliantly being played. I always think of Psalms 119 and 126. It's time for the Most High to work, because they have made void thy law. And the Most High is working. I know a lot of brothers was bringing out the fact that, the situation with North Korea. North Korea was supposed to be a place that never experienced any of the pandemic. Now out the blue, they talking about 1 million people supposed to be infected with the COVID. Salaki. Well, it is what it is. With the CV, and now all of a sudden, you got the situation where NATO is basically taking the sovereignty from all these different countries, especially America, saying that they basically, because they can't deal with the health crisis. So something is really about to take place really, really soon. I was listening to the elder brother Amawan Gabar, and he was saying you can feel it in the air. And if you can't, maybe you're not spiritually in touch like you think. So I'm going to bring out a little bit of this, this article. I thought of a few scriptures, and like I said, scriptures talk about famines, when you go into the Salakia, when you go into 2nd Ezra, when you go into the book of Salakia, or Ecclesiasticus of the book of Sirach, chapter 39, it talks about spirits made for vengeance, famine, and death. Famine is constantly used because famine is a tool that the Most High uses. Like I brought out in the book of Second Ezra, they're used to actually make for amendment. When you go into the word amendment, is to make a change or correction. And but these people, like I say, at the end of the day, they not gonna change their ways because people, majority of these people love to commit wickedness. So I'm gonna bring out a little bit of this article, Salakia. Salakia for a pretty long day. It says India banned wheat exports on Saturday. Mumbai. India banned wheat exports on Saturday, days after saying it was targeting record shipments this year as the scorching heat wave curtailed output and domestic prices hit a record high. It says the government said it will still allow exports backed by already issued letters of credit into countries that request supplies to meet their food security needs. The move to ban overseas shipments was not in perpetuity and could be revised, senior government officials told a press conference. Global buyers were banking on supplies from the world's second biggest wheat producer after exports from the Black Sea region plunged following Russia's February 24th invasion of Ukraine. And look at that, Russia invaded Ukraine. Damn near, it's going on. We going into we're in the month of May, going on the month of June. So the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is really truly speeding this thing up. Before the ban, India had aimed to ship a record 10 million tons this year. The officials added that there was no dramatic fall in wheat output this year, but unregulated export had led to a rise in local prices, and that's going again into most famine. Because, like I said, because of inflation, because, like I said, you got to understand. What's happening in America is affecting other places, and what's happening in other places is going to affect America. I was listening to the brother Bukar Amaf talking about, well, it wasn't just Bukar Amaf, it was the brother Bukar Amaf, and it was the elder brother Amawan Gabar, and they was going into the Black Friday like food riots. You're gonna have people fighting over food. I heard the elder brother from LA, Barack Allah, he went into how people gonna be fighting over a rusty can of peas or some shit like that. And motherfucker gonna bash a person in the head with them bitches just to get them, then eat them and die, because they outdated and spoiled, you know what I mean? But yeah, because you gotta understand, it talks about with violence, this place is gonna be, you can see the violence actually like picking up in the earth, It talks about in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 5 about the incontinency, meaning lawlessness. It talks about in 2nd Ezra chapter 15 about how these people are not going to regard the kings or princes or basically the authorities. It says, we don't want wheat trade to happen in an unregulated manner or hoarding to happen. Commerce Secretary BVR Subramaniam told reporters in New Delhi, although not one of the world's top wheat exporters, India's ban could drive global prices to new peaks given already tight supply, hitting poor consumers in Asia and Africa particularly hard. And it's going to affect us too. Like I said, they said, which is contradictory to a degree, they said not the biggest supplier, but if they was the second biggest, it said it was the second biggest supplier. So if Russia and Ukraine, which were the number one, if they literally, that region over there, if that literally slowed down, okay, now the second biggest is basically saying they're not going to do it for whatever reason. And it's like pretty much with China. China, I don't think, is exporting certain things. Because like I said, again, this thing is not just like a one city or one block. This is going to be a global. This is going to be a global famine. And it's all by design. Rising food and energy prices push India's annual retail inflation near an 8-year high in April, strengthening expectations that the central bank would raise interest rates more aggressively. And like I said, because of the inflation, the only way to check it for real is to raise interest rates. So the price of everything is going to go up. And that's being seen right now. India this week outlined its record export. Slovakia. India this week outlined its record export target for the fiscal year that started on April 1st, saying it would send trade delegations to countries such as Morocco, Tunisia, Indonesia, and the Philippines to explore ways to boost shipments. It says a spike in temperatures in mid-March means the crops could instead be Slovakia. It says in February, the government forecast production of 111.32 million tons, the sixth straight record crop, but it cut the forecast to 105 million tons in May. A spike in temperature in Slovakia, in mid-March means the crop could instead be around 100 million tons or even lower, said New Delhi based dealer with a global trading firm. So basically, they didn't yield what they expected to, and therefore they can't afford to really like export it like that. Like that's just like, for instance, I worked at a company that it was like we dealt with totes. So the totes, basically, it was 3, I think, places in the city that actually dealt with these totes. So although they sold their own tote, they would buy the material from some other companies sometimes, So when, like, for instance, okay, basically India could sold or basically exported wheat, but if they didn't have enough wheat, they could actually buy some from Russia, because Russia exported wheat. But now that Russia is not exporting the wheat, they can't really truly afford to, sell all their wheat, because that's a commodity that they have to utilize themselves. It says the Indian ban will lift global wheat prices. Right now, there's no big supplier in the market, another dealer said. So that all being said, and you can read this on your own. Basically, with that being said, that's talking about the price of wheat is going to go up. So, a lot of stuff is made with wheat, your breads, So, again, the prices of certain foods and certain things is going to go up. And that, is going to affect those that can have access to food and those that can't. And like I said, that could actually lead to a mini famine. So I got a few scriptures I'm gonna get. Let's go with 2 Ezra chapter 6 verse. Let's start at verse 18. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 18. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. And that's the Most High visiting this earth right now. He's visiting them through the signs and these tokens. It reads it, and it talks about again, when you look at Ecclesiasticus of the book of Sirach, chapter 39, it talks about famine and death, these is the way the Most High is visiting, and right now visiting the earth, and right now I mean, you got more people, like the elder Amawan Gabar was saying. He said, "Shit, you already are experiencing a famine. This is a shortage of goods." Then, like I said, it's always something violent happening. I just was walking home from work yesterday, and a guy told me literally two people that got shot on the street. Like, 'cause I got to catch the bus and the rapid. Sometimes I catch the rapid. Sometimes I get off too late and can't catch it. But I was in that area. I was wondering, because this area normally, especially being as warmer, you always normally would see people, but it was like pretty dead over there. And it made sense when the guy told me, like, yeah, be careful going down there. And somebody just, he said two people, not one, two people got shot. So through these judgments is how the Most High is visiting the earth. Verse 19, I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Sion shall be fulfilled, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens, meaning these signs. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. This is the point I wanted. Verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And you experiencing that as well. You talk about these pantries that have food for those like people that will go to the Salvation Army in certain places to get this free food. Well, they're talking about because of so many people having to utilize that because of the last 2 years of all this we've been going through. Those places are becoming empty. So when people need these things the most, they're not going to be actually able to actually utilize them, because they won't be they won't be able to. Let me see. I got one. Revelations chapter 18 verse 8 says, and like I said again, we haven't seen this like completely, but like I said, you already hearing about, like I said, the baby formula shortages, and so that's a famine to a degree. The Lord so cold, he had the children suffering from the famine. God. This is the book of Revelation chapter 18 verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua who judgeth her. So that fire is talking about them ICBMs, but talking about that famine, and it's gonna be great death. You already seeing that spirit of violence increasing the earth. It talks about that in the book of Matthew. Talk about it in like I said again, 2nd Ezra chapter 5. Matthew 24, because wickedness shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. We see again the beginning of this famine, because the Most High is beginning to visit the world at which He made. I believe that's 2nd Ezra chapter 9. And again, the way the Most High is visiting it is through these prophecies. Slovakia. So with all that being said, judgment is set for the wicked, and the righteous shall be covered. It tells you that in the book of Psalms chapter 91, when it talks about he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. And what's that secret place? That's true. The Most High is going to cover and protect his chosen men. When you go into the book of Isaiah chapter 65, it talks about thy servant shall eat. It's another one too, but it's scriptures that talk about how the Most High is going to protect and take care of and his elect men, those that he dealing with. You know, it talks about how they're going to laugh at famine. You know, this is the book. But you do have a group of people that's allotted for judgment and death, and you know, again, you got 2/3 that's not going to repent and come back. You got the heathen that's going to get caught up in the judgment because, you know, the Lord is about to visit this place with a great judgment. So, this is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 1. It says, "Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth." And that's talking about Israel. Again, I just brought up about the 2/3. 2/3 are destined for destruction because they not even trying to come out of the mindset. I mean, literally, with all these things going on, a nigga is not looking to come out of Babylon. A nigga still looking to like I say, try to get the bag. You know, I'm listening to my well, she and my demon, my roomie. She her daughter going on to Hawaii. You know, yeah. With all these things going on, she focused on being in Hawaii. You know. Well, and my roomie got her kids while she's in Hawaii. It'd be cold if the Lord do some shit and just literally, like, make a major outbreak. Like, people not really, like, they stuck in folly. Verse 2, "And it shall come to pass if they say unto thee, whither shall we go? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, such as are for death to death, and such as for Salakia, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity for Salakia, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord Yahweh, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the earth, Salakia, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy." So basically, that's going into judgment. The Lord doesn't want 2/3 of his own people, and the heathen gonna again get caught up in judgments as well. You know, it talks about in the scriptures in the book of what's that? I think John chapter 4 talks about salvation is of basically Israel. You know, of the Jews. It's not for everybody. So like, and that's talking about being protected and saved from these coming calamities too. You know, so you know, I just thought I'd touch on that article because that's very significant. You know, it's a lot going on right now. I was listening to Brother Bukhar Maffa. He was making mention of that. He's like, it seemed like every day is so much stuff going on, or you reading about one thing and then another thing happened. Like, and people don't even understand that Finland and that's, Sweden and Finland thing. You know that how significant that is. So these countries want to join NATO, and then Turkey has a issue with it. But through the spirit and in the scriptures, we know that Turkey is going to be dealing with Russia, and Turkey is a part of NATO right now. And the thing is, you're not going to escape prophecy, no matter how much you try to escape it. They're not. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and to the commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushua, Ba Hashem Rachak. Double honors to the apostles, to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the 4 corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Mawatha Babal. Shalom.